Good morning. We have a Thursday. This is most of the way through week 2. Super successful day yesterday. I'm doing something a little bit different this morning that involves some of the tools that I'm a little bit less comfortable with. So I thought that this might be a good chance to show some of the workflows that I don't do very often and I'm not very good at. So the problem space, because everything starts with a problem space, is this main menu. The main menu currently is, I guess I'm saying that it's bad. More explicitly, I would claim that because the main menu presents itself at the moment very much like a wall of text. It's just, there's a lot of words and users are losing, particular important things in just the stack of words. I developed this, and obviously I'm pretty familiar with where everything is. If I switch to another language, I immediately lose any tracking of like what order these things are in, where I might go to find information. I built it. So there's obviously not a structure or a layout that transcends the specific language. You very much need to be able to just read the words in a list and find out what you're trying to do. And I want to make my UI maybe a little bit more clever than that. UI and visual design is one of my weak points. I am not an artist. I'm not very familiar with any traditional or digital media art workflows. But we give it a go because that's what you've got to do. So I do have a small plan to make some of it make a bit more sense. If I move this down here, we actually have underneath our main monitor, we've got this tablet, and on the tablet we've got a couple of different tools we use to kind of ideate and work out what we're going to do. So my plan at the moment is obviously we've got like text, so that'll be that row of menu items on the left, and then we've got the high scoreboard made up of these entries like so, and it's very busy. I think primarily the issue that I'm facing is that you're not drawn to pick out any particular feature out of this list and want to investigate it or read into it or even remember what was in the list. There's just too many words. So initially I thought, what if there were, you got to think out of the box and just start by throwing all the rules out and just trying to have some ideas. What if instead of words, I could come up with some icon set? So maybe that's play on expert. That would be play on intermediate. That would be play on beginner. Obviously, a more professional version of these. You might have some little cog situation for options. Maybe exit is like an exit door with like an arrow or something. Maybe you use some iconology that we know already exists. Maybe we have for the more creative ones, maybe the help section is like a little help thing. Maybe our customization menu. Maybe maybe that's like a little top hat. That's a top hat. Little top hat situation. Maybe we've got cooperative, which could be some two people with a little plus or something. So yeah, I thought about this icon set to set these into position where currently we're using all these words, use these icons instead. I think using just the icons instead then is maybe a little too mysterious. So my idea following that was to have the icon set. So let's just, say that these are good. We would have this icon set down the left side, and then whichever one was selected the word would like activate for that one. So if my current selection was this beginner play arrow, I would have beginner would come up. And then when I move my selection down, beginner, like that light would go out and the intermediate light, that one would come on. So like the thing that I have selected would be, as I go down the list, would be the thing that's word would activate. This will do a couple of things. One, there will be only one word on screen at any one time. And two, people will see these icons, hopefully kind of understand what they mean at face value, but then want to find out, oh, what's that one down there? And maybe we'll actually scroll down to it to specifically look at it to find what it is. So it maybe wraps some of the exploration stuff into the UI as well. The reason why I think that's okay, obviously like exploration, your UI might not be the place for deep exploration. The reason why I think that's okay in this case is because this icon set should be designed in such a way that to like 90% of players, it's pretty obvious what these options are. In addition to this, currently the menu is one layer deep, where if I click on controls, I go into controls. My idea for this was, if I had this icon set down the side and I was able to go up and down the icon set, only the word that I actually have selected is active. What I might be able to do is have this screen space over on the right actually be a live display of whatever it is I have selected. So currently it's just on the scoreboard, and if I click on controls, then it opens the controls screen. What I could do is have, as I select controls, so controls is now the selected thing, I could have this right section of the screen populate with the controls content so that the menu is not actually a layer deep. What that would do is force the discovery piece where as you go down the menu, you just see the presentation that's on the right. You see that content. Instead of going, options, I'll go into options. Options would just be on the right because you have options selected. So I think by combining these two things, maybe I might get to somewhere good. So initially, if we took this as, as some kind of like guide set for my design, the next part of my workflow would be to come across into Aseprite, because I'll be just using these as like a UI sprite icon in Unity. Decide on some size. I think like maybe 32 by 32 is probably good for the screen space that these are gonna take up. We'll go with a transparent background. Okay, come to Aseprite, and I'd start blocking out my design. So something like maybe if we make a white play icon to start with, a couple of cool shortcuts. You can hold control and move things in and out. We can hold shift to force draw straight lines from our last selection point. So if we did something like this, which didn't turn out to be quite symmetric. There we go. Then we can fill in the inside space, and maybe we go like, oops. And this is a part of the process when you don't know what you're doing. Make this brush a bit smaller, do something like that to finish our arrow. So it looks like it's centered on the canvas. There is a shortcut here somewhere to do measuring of spaces, but we're just gonna wing that one. So if that was our play, I could then export that as straight into our TMD3D2 asset art icons. That's the right spot. All visible layers, etc. Yeah, that's good. If we actually go save as and we do a raw first, one of my other projects. We could just set the name of this as well. So we might just make a raw icons. Because if we do this, then we can go white arrow, save, and then when we export, we will be exporting as into icons. We will be exporting it as white arrow. So we'll hit an export on that. Now I'm anticipating that in software I'm going to want some different colors, but we want the colors to be correct. So if we snap that over there and we grab our Tetris stuff, let's go data. Tetramino data. Tetramino, no, block. There we go. So our blocks here have the color data in them. So I'm going to use the correct colors out of this color set to make sure that we're being consistent with our colors. Got a new mouse yesterday, so our sensitivity is we're still working it out. So if we eyedropper the green from, oh, can we not? Oh, we actually can't do that. It's all right, I'll deal with that later. So if we did this now, we could go File, Save as green arrow, and then we can export that one to, to icons. So now in Unity, if we come across here and we go into our icons, we are going to have white arrow, which we'll have to set this up to actually be the UI sprite. We will have white arrow and we will have green arrow. So what I might even do is just put those inside of a folder so that these icons don't get lost anywhere. And then I'm just going to go through and make up those icons, drag them in. Maybe this is a good idea, maybe this is not a good idea. I don't know, we'll find out when we get it all in. I'm going to do a pretty cheap version of the logic initially, just to kind of get it working. So I'll just slap the icons in, I'll turn all the words off, and just see what it looks like with icons in and just one word. I'll go from there. It could be a false lead, but need to do something about this main menu. It's too much word. Too much word in your face. And I dare say with the art component that will take me most of the day. So off I go.